We're going to start our portion of the program with one that I really like. For those of us that are in the audience that have been in the band before, which we have some, this is one that comes back every once in a while. This is one written by the great John Clayton, and if you don't know who that is, he is an amazing bass player, an amazing arranger, and wrote the arrangement for Whitney Houston's version of the Star Spangled Banner that she did at the Super Bowl in the 90s. And so he's been writing for groups forever. And this one he actually wrote for Queen Latifah, who in recent years has become a jazz singer. And he wrote this for her, and the legend is they started it and she couldn't quite feel the time the right way, and so they changed it, but then we changed it back. So please help me welcome to the stage one of our vocalists here tonight, Ms. Sandra Kenny. One more time for Sandra. She's a senior, and so every semester we have auditions, and folks come and say they're interested in singing and playing. And it's more challenging because in the fall, many of us continue over into the spring. And she just popped up one day and said, well, I think I'd like to try this out. I've never done this before. I said, you're a liar. We're going to continue now with one by Oliver Nelson. It's entitled Groove, but it's probably most famous because of the Maynard Ferguson Band, which was a famous touring band that had a lot of success in the 70s and the 80s, playing lots of fusion music with lots of high trumpet parts. But this is a really swinging version, so we hope you enjoy. You're going to hear from a lot of different folks on this one. This is entitled Groove. You heard from Noah on the piano. My favorite student on the Barry sax. See, she's my favorite student because she has an alter ego, okay? And the alter ego came when she was a freshman, and I kept messing up her name every concert. Her name, when she's doing what she's supposed to do, and she's studying for her test, and making her parents proud, her name. It's Sophie. Now, when she's late to rehearsal, she doesn't have the music right, she's Grace. One more time for Grace. Then on the alto saxophone. And on trumpet, Shiva. And one of our graduating seniors this year, Blair. We're going to continue and feature another one of our graduating seniors this year. This is one by the great trumpet player and arranger and sometimes piano player, Arturo Sandoval. And it's arranged by him and then taken by Michael Philip Mossman. And the band has a lot of fun with this Latin tune. This is called Mis Abuelos. Simon on the trumpet and the flugelhorn. every year, try to find some different types of things to push the students and get them to try to work on different techniques, different styles, different skills. And this next one was a tricky one. It was written by a director of jazz studies at University of Connecticut. He's a pianist. He's originally from Canada, but I was looking through some different things and found this tune really intriguing. It pushes the students because it lives kind of in between maybe straight ahead jazz and world music, colors. It forces them to really be musical in a different way. And one of the other things that I make my saxophone players do, because I hate them, is to play other instruments that are not the saxophone. So you're going to get a chance to hear them pick up some of their doubles. They're going to play some flute, they're going to play some bass clarinet, they're going to play some clarinet for you over here. And Tommy over here, he's new to the band, and he's been playing the clarinet for about 2 months now. So be nice to him, okay? This tune is one that he wrote for his wife. Her name is Jana, but we know it in the band as Yaya Song. We're going to continue now with one of my favorite ballads. Playing a ballad is probably one of the hardest things to do in jazz, and it's really hard to do on my favorite instrument. And you would think maybe my favorite instrument is the piano. Nope, it's the trombone. And if you play the trombone in the audience, you are now my favorite person. But we have a graduating senior here tonight, and so I gave him this challenge of checking out this tune by the great J.J. Johnson. He recorded it in 1954, and it's a beautiful ballad, but unfortunately, he didn't get the credit he was due until Miles Davis covered it a little bit later, and then a lot of folks ended up knowing more about this tune. But this is a beautiful arrangement of J.J. Johnson's Lament. Please give it up for Logan on the trombone. One more time for Logan Richard on the phone. Somebody really hurt you, man. All right, we're going to continue. We're going to bring out another one of our amazing vocalists. We are very honored and blessed to have two amazing vocalists. And we're going to continue with one made famous by Michael Bublé. He wrote this tune himself for his girlfriend at the time. It's all about the fun side of love, you know, when you guys are giggling and everything that they say is something you agree with, not whose turn is it to do the dishes, and, you know, did you pick up the trash and take it outside? Not those parts of love. It's the fuzzy stuff. So please welcome to the stage, Mr. Eric Chuck. I'm a rhythm section player. So, you know, a lot of times the rhythm section get in these bands and the band directors yell at the horns all the time. But I'm relentless on the rhythm section. And they keep coming back. So they work really hard, you know, but it's hard to be in the rhythm section. We get no breaks, you know. On a gig, you see the saxophones, they picking their nose, they're checking their phone, you know. The rhythm section is playing the whole time. So one more time for the rhythm section. You've been a great audience. We've got two more for you. We're going to bring our vocalist back to the stage. This is one of Billie Holiday's amazing contributions to this music. She wrote it after her getting into an argument with her mother about money, and this is called God Bless the Child. Please welcome to the stage again, Sage Kay. Thank you all for coming. You've been a great audience. We appreciate you. If you like what you heard, tell somebody. If you didn't, keep it to yourself. We appreciate Messiah University for coming and sharing the stage with us. This is a beautiful tradition. I get to brag because only in music can you bring people together who are from all walks of life, doing all types of things with all types of experiences to come together and share this. And so it means a lot that we get a chance to share that with you. This group is very special, and they are here not because it's for a grade, but because they want to be. Raise your hand if you are a music major. Exactly. So they have to deal with me in between chemistry and computer science and chem labs and rats. So we are grateful that they are here, and we are grateful that you are here. We have a show coming up next Tuesday at Blues Alley at 9:30. It's the oldest supper club in the country, and so we would love to see you there. Tell a friend, bring a friend, and come and hang out. We got a different set of music for you there, but you'll see this band again. So thank you again. We appreciate you sharing your time with us. We're going to finish with one of my favorite tunes by the great Nicholas Payton. This is called Tiger Rag. You're going to hear from a lot of folks on this.